Hi Refined Living, I'm Carla. This is my detached Edwardian home, split over 3 floors with some charming Edwardian features. Let me show you around. So this is the hallway, which we could have sort of made another sitting room, but actually having that extra space is quite useful, especially with kids, you know, prams, scooters, just knowing that we can just kind of all roll into the house and not feel like it's too confined and too busy with furniture. Lovely to have the fireplace here, which I just feel like in an Edwardian home, having like lots of fireplaces, especially having one in a hallway, feels like quite a treat. And we've kind of decorated the area with a few hand-me-downs of parents and in-laws getting rid of stuff from their house, but luckily it works really nicely in the space. So this lovely old painting, which is an heirloom from, I think, great-grandparents who lived in Scotland. This again was a hand-me-down, and I love the strong red colour. Throughout the house, there's lots of greens and blues and pinks and greens, which I think just go so nicely together. The pink and the green, they're, you know, feel-good colours. That's definitely the theme through the house. My husband's very into his plants, so he's very good at keeping them alive, which is good because I wouldn't be able to do that. And then we have a painting that I did, again, quite like a strong yellowy colour. I wanted to sort of pick out some of the colours from the stained glass, which are a bit of a theme through the house. Let me take you into the sitting room. So I've got my pinky wall colour here, which my husband was not happy about at all, but he's come around to it now, especially because lots of the shoots that we do in the house seem to really love the colour and like to film in this room. So yeah, it works well. I actually chose the curtains first, and then I wanted to find a colour and pick out one of the colours for the walls. So we went for this sort of corally pink colour, and I think that's probably my favourite colour, that corally pink. White sofas, which probably isn't the most sensible choice for 2 small children and a dog. But yeah, we do like to gather in here and do like a movie night and yeah, make a mess of these lovely white sofas. So that's the sitting room. Let me show you into the kitchen. We've got this kitchen area, which we opened up quite a bit. I think it's nice to have like a big space. People seem to really spend a lot of time in the kitchen, and whenever you have like guests or people over, that's where people just kind of gravitate to. The thing that we really fell in love with were the stained glass windows. It's just lovely how the light comes through and can create sort of lots of different patterns depending on the time of day. We chose not to paint the wood and just sort of stonewash it and keep it quite raw. It actually goes really well with this piece of artwork, which is a visual aid. So when they did Band Aid, they did a few of these pieces as well. And again, we've got a nice big fireplace, which is lovely to put on, especially in winter time, having, you know, dinner around the table and having a fire on. We have the kitchen through here. When we bought the house, it hadn't been touched since the 50s, and it was all kind of chopped up into different rooms. There were 2 doors for some reason sort of coming into here, and we just blocked that door off and made this pantry space. This we built just recently, the banquette. Kids like to come in here and yeah, make a little bit of a mess. So we went for a nice dark colour that would kind of hide too much of food stains and things. Up, 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 up. Yeah, good girl. So that was the first part of the house. Let me show you the rest. So let me show you what we call the garden room. It's used as a playroom, an extra sort of sitting area. My husband has turned it into his office as well, so I'll often find him just sort of soaking in the garden, but still with a laptop on his lap doing his work in here. It's really great because we have a guest room upstairs. So there's a little staircase with a guest bathroom there. So if we have families that come to stay, the kids can sort of like camp out down here with some sleeping bags as well. And then we've got the lovely windows which overlook the garden, which I will show you shortly. And then we just kind of kept with this theme of calling it a garden room and wanted to have elements of plants and flowers and bird prints on the wall. Corfu is an island in Greece, which we visit quite a bit, which we really love. So this is a painting of a bay in Corfu, which is just lovely to look at and think of holidays and special times there. I'm going to show you my treatment space where I work. So I call this like my clinic. I work as an osteopath. I also teach a little bit of yoga. So it's great to have this slightly bigger space where you can fit a few people in. I love that it's a big, bright space, but patients can have their privacy as well. I've worked in so many treatment rooms, clinic rooms over the years which have felt so dark and claustrophobic. So super lovely to have this nice bright space. It also has a really lovely feel. This room in particular has got a very sort of calm energy to it. We've placed this old desk here. Again, it's another hand-me-down, but luckily works quite nicely in this space. I have my armchair where patients can sit and wait for their treatment. Lovely kitchen space to make teas and coffees for patients. And also it has its own entrance, which is super useful. So I don't have to drag people through the rest of a sort of crazy family household. They can just come straight in for their treatment. Okay, so I'm going to show you around the garden with Florence. So this is a really lovely spot to sit in the terrace. The nice evenings and weather in England are sort of few and far between, but when we do get that nice weather, it's really lovely to sit out here and have our meals outside. These lovely plants, some of these have been left over by shoots. Most recently, this pygmy palm and yucca. They generously donated it to us. This patch of grass is mainly used as a football pitch. You can see it looks quite battered. When we first saw this house, the main attraction was the garden. My husband, who is very good with his gardens and his plants, did it all himself and landscaped. It's still a bit of a work in progress, but we're getting there. So we've got a few nice areas to sit in the garden. And then just in the gravel there where we've got the fire pit. Seeing as I see patients here, we wanted to create a sort of wellness extension into the garden where you can do kind of wilderness walks and just walk through to the end of the garden amongst the wildflowers, and also just help to kind of repollinate and draw nature back into the space. So this is another lovely spot to sit with the fire on in the winter. The kids like to toast marshmallows there, which is quite fun. So we put this lovely little arch here to kind of make it another sort of separate area. And it's amazing how fast everything is growing around it. This is my favorite spot for a morning coffee or to read a book. I love sitting at the end and looking down the garden. So that's the garden space. Let's go and have a look at the bedrooms. So I'm going to show you the bedrooms next. I'll show you into my daughter's bedroom, which understandably gets quite a bit messier than this, as she loves to make a mess and get all her toys out and have a good old play. We went for this lovely wallpaper, which didn't feel too childish. It was nice to have something that she can sort of grow into and we wouldn't feel the need to keep redecorating. A double bed, as often I'm lying with her to get her to sleep and through the night. So at least there's space for me in here too. So this is the kids' bathroom. Went for something a little bit different with these kind of wood boards, and then there's quite decorative tiles which are all the way up to the wall. Something a little bit different for the kids' bathroom. I'll take you into my son's room. So we've got his desk, obviously very into his football, like lots of 8-year-old boys. So we went for some football related artwork, and he's got his Harry Potter bedspread and a lovely armchair, which we've had for years and has kind of followed us from our last house. We've got a slightly kind of off pink colour in here, which I really love. Let me take you into the master bedroom. So I went a little bit more wild with the pattern, got to put some more lovely wallpaper, again, which is quite garden themed, as there's a lovely view into the garden. And I recently just purchased this lovely bench for the end and this headboard. I think we're going to have to move the pictures slightly or change them around, but I really love the shape and the pattern and the red against the blue. Bookshelves, which I love. I would cover the whole house in bookshelves if I could. So we've got the dressing room in here. Marble steps down into the bathroom. We made the tiles a little bit smaller so they're a bit more grippy, and then we've got the bigger tiles against the wall. Another favourite spot of mine. I do love to have a bath, and to be able to look out into the garden is a real treat. We added this seat in the shower, which is quite fun to be able to have a seat. It's quite useful. And we've got this cupboard. This was actually originally here. This is the only thing, I think it was a bedroom, and we turned it into a bathroom, but we kept this cupboard. I really love this cupboard. And then I added these features and one of the sort of traditional panels on the wall, so that it didn't just sort of look like a boring kind of white bathroom wall. And they just kind of stuck on, quite simple, but feel like it really kind of gives the room a lift and make it feel a bit more interesting. I love being in the bedroom, love having a bit of quiet time away, and whenever I can, just taking a moment to read in bed, have a nice long bath, and just it's my peaceful, relaxing space. That's the upstairs, that's the master bedroom and the kids' bedrooms. Thank you, Refine Living. If you would like to rent the house for shoots, you can find a link in the description. You can also find my information at Carla Pozner Osteopathy.